What's up guys, my name is Ace, and today we got a bit of a surprise weapon balancing update that also included some bug fixes in it. So today we're going to be diving deep into exactly what changed here. And let's just kick this off with some of the miscellaneous changes that I feel are most important to mention, and then we'll get into the weapon balancing changes. And the first thing I want to point out here is with the Assassin Vest, we are once again able to use a piece of lethal equipment with that vest. With the launch of Season 2, that was unintentionally removed, but that is now fixed. Next up, with the Season 2 update, they removed Hipfire Crosshair Sway. However, this wasn't applying to the no stock attachment until today. They have now fixed that, so no stock will be working properly there. And that's pretty much it for the general gameplay changes that came with this. Now let's get into the weapon balancing, and we're going to start it off with the Striker 9. Now the first thing they did here is they increased our damage values in the first 2 damage ranges, but they nerfed our damage values in the minimum damage range, so at really long ranges. And what this means is it's now going to be a 5-shot kill in the first 2 damage ranges, whereas previously it was just the first damage range. However, at longer ranges, it used to be a 7-shot kill. Now it's going to be an 8-shot kill to the body. And then on top of that, let's have a look at our range comparison, because some of our range values changed slightly as well. But as you can see here, our 5-shot kill potential went from about 11 meters all the way up to just over 20 meters, which is a pretty big buff to the general power of the Striker 9. However, it is worth noting our 6-shot kill potential has dropped, and we are now dropping off to an 8-shot kill rather than 7 there. Another thing you might notice is the enemy nameplate range. This is where you aim at an enemy player or really close to an enemy player. You will see their nameplate and that red diamond appear above their head. They increase this range from 33 meters up to 38 meters. And then on top of this, our bullet velocity was very slightly increased with the Striker 9 from 540 meters per second up to 560 meters per second. Honestly, you probably won't notice that difference at all. So definitely some noticeable changes there, but that's not it. They also adjusted the recoil on the Striker 9. And what they've done here is they first off reduced the gun kick, which is a good thing. However, they also increased our horizontal recoil and our vertical recoil. So as you can see, the total magnitude of recoil is quite a bit higher now with the Striker 9, but it doesn't zigzag on you like it used to, not nearly as much at least. So I wouldn't necessarily call this a straight buff or a straight nerf. It's just going to be a bit of a different recoil pattern. And you are going to have to control, especially for vertical recoil, a lot more after this update. So that's the Striker 9, and I'm definitely looking forward to checking this out after the update, because it is going to perform quite a bit different now. Next, let's move on to the TAQ Evolvere, and we're going to start it off with just 7.62x51. There were also changes to 5.56, but we'll cover that separately after 7.62, which is, of course, the default ammo on this. And the first big thing they changed here is our rate of fire. They significantly reduced this from 706 rounds per minute all the way down to 500 rounds per minute, which also has an impact on our recoil. Even though they didn't touch the recoil values, since we have a slower rate of fire, we're able to recenter between shots better, and you can see we've got an extremely accurate gun on our hands now. And on top of that, they did buff our damage values, and they added a separate body multiplier to the upper torso and the arms. So now this has a 4-shot kill potential to the body, whereas previously it would take you 5 shots to kill anywhere in the body. And that's not all, they also adjusted our range values. You can see they buffed the range drop-off points here, and it's now a 4 to 5 shot kill, but with that slower rate of fire, we're technically getting a slower time to kill potential as well at 360 milliseconds within that maximum damage range with a 4-shot kill, whereas previously with a 5-shot kill, we were killing in 340 milliseconds. And then finally, with the 7.62 version of the TAQ Evolvere, our base movement speed is increased from 4.4 meters per second up to 5.1 meters per second, so a very noticeable buff to movement speed there. And then on top of that, they slightly increased the amount of flinch that we deal to enemy players from 0.5 newtons up to 0.8 newtons. So again, just like with the Striker 9, this is more of a rework to how the gun works rather than just a straight up buff or a straight up nerf to the gun, so it should perform quite a bit different post-patch compared to pre-patch. However, that's just when we're using the default 7.62 ammo. What happens if we're using 5.56? Well, they completely reworked this one separately as well. And with this, there was a rate of fire adjustment. So instead of the pre-patch 706 rounds per minute, it's now quite a bit faster at 857 rounds per minute. So there's a massive discrepancy between 5.56 and 7.62 on this gun now. And what this means is, again, even though our recoil values didn't change, we are going to be seeing more overall recoil just due to that faster fire rate. Although this is still a very controllable recoil pattern. Then, just like with 7.62, they did rework our damage profile, and with this, they actually changed our body multipliers entirely. It used to be just base damage and then upper torso and head damage. Now we have leg damage, lower torso and lower arm damage, upper torso and upper arm damage, and headshot damage, which is the same as that upper torso and upper arm. But essentially what this means is previously it was a 5 to 6 shot kill potential to the body, now it's a 4 to 7 shot kill potential to the body. And for a better illustration, let's have a look at our ranges, which were also adjusted with this gun. As you can see here, our maximum damage range was reduced pretty considerably down to just over 20 meters. However, within that range, we're now killing in 4 shots with a higher fire rate, so we get a significantly better time to kill potential at 210 milliseconds. So quite a big buff for close range situations. Then in our mid-ranges, we're killing in 350 milliseconds, which is just a little bit slower than our previous time to kill within that general range. And we do actually carry that time to kill out farther now. So in a way, this is a bit of a nerf, but also a bit of a buff. And then finally, beyond about 51 meters, we're killing in 420 milliseconds with that 7-shot kill. So in general, I do consider this a pretty big net buff to the 5.56 TAQ Evolvere. However, there were a few other miscellaneous changes here. First off, our base movement speed, this was increased just like with 7.62 up to 5.1 meters per second. Most importantly though with this, our aim walking movement speed was massively increased up to 3.4 meters per second. And just for perspective, that's now tied with the fastest aim walking movement speed in the SMG category for Modern Warfare 3 SMGs. So this is a massive, massive improvement and pretty crazy for an LMG actually. After that, our aim down sight speed was noticeably improved here. It was 366 milliseconds, now it's 309 milliseconds. I should state this is with the 100 round 5.56 mag. And then on top of that, we saw some huge buffs to our hip fire as well when using this ammo type. So it's going to be much better at hip firing. And overall, just like the previous guns we talked about, this was basically a rework to how the gun works. But in this case, I would say it's a very clear net buff when using 5.56 with the TAQ Evolvere. As for the next bit of weapon balancing that we saw, this is actually with the JAK Tyrant 7.62 kit on the Longbow sniper rifle, which we just covered, I believe, yesterday or the day before. But with this, I was quite surprised to see a handful of buffs. The first thing is our aim down sight time when using this kit went from 470 milliseconds, which was already really fast for a sniper rifle. That's now down to 390 milliseconds, which is a bit scary actually. I'm a bit worried this is going to end up making this kit a bit too powerful, but time will tell on that. Our aim walking movement speed was also improved a little bit from 2.5 meters per second up to 2.8 meters per second. And our hip fire while using this kit was very noticeably improved as well. And again, I honestly thought this was pretty good pre-patch, and now it's even better. And like I said, I'm actually a bit nervous that this may have made the kit a little too powerful. I thought it was great as it was, and these are some noticeable buffs to the Longbow JAK Tyrant kit. But then finally, there's one last gun that was adjusted with this update. This is the WSP Stinger in the secondary slot, and unfortunately, I didn't have any pre-patch recoil testing with the secondary weapons, so I have nothing to compare it to, but this is what it looks like post-patch. What they did with this is they increased the amount of gun kick we experience by quite a large margin. However, they very noticeably reduced our horizontal recoil, and then they slightly increased our vertical recoil. Just based on feel, it actually feels a bit more accurate and easy to control. But again, unfortunately, I just don't have that pre-patch versus post-patch comparison here. However, that's not the only thing that changed with the WSP Stinger. They also reworked the damage profile. And with this, we just saw a buff within all of our damage ranges. Previously, this was a 7 to 10 shot kill. Now it's a 6 to 9 shot kill. And what this means is our time to kill potential went from 360 milliseconds up close down to 300 milliseconds up close. And then at the longest ranges, it used to be 540 milliseconds to kill. Now it's 480 milliseconds. So in general, the WSP Stinger should feel noticeably better after this update. And with that, that's finally going to wrap it up today's video on the surprise weapon balancing that took place today. Overall, it is nice to see some reworks, especially with the TAQ Evolvere. I always thought it was really strange that there wasn't that much of a difference between 5.56 and 7.62, whereas now there's a huge difference. I do like the looks of the Striker 9 adjustment, although I haven't had a chance to actually play around with it myself yet. Like I mentioned, I'm a little skeptical about that JAK Tyrant buff. I honestly thought that kit was solid pre-patch, and now it's very noticeably better post-patch. And then when it comes to the WSP Stinger, that was a nice appropriate change because pre-patch, that time to kill potential was just painfully slow. Now, of course, these are just my opinions, and I'd love to hear what you guys think about this weapon update in those comments down below. Are you guys generally happy with these changes, or not so much? If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.